Good day to everybody. Today we're going to talk about leprosy. In our parashat tazria, and also the next parasha, we have a lot of talks about this disease which causes leprosy. It's a skin disease that mainly comes on lashon hara, talking badly on people, and what we call today shaming, the same thing. And the question is, why is the Torah dealing with this leprosy for two parashot? And really today, we've got no leprosy. There is no, this skin disease doesn't exist anymore. The leprosy that we call today, leprosy, that's rat, it's not what the Torah is talking about. And the question is, so, does it exist today or not? So, of course it exists, because if the Torah talks about it, and talks about it with two parashot, it means that maybe we don't understand what is leprosy today, but definitely it exists, because the Torah was written forever, for eternity, for infinity. In other words, it must be something that we don't understand here. So, what it's all about? Interesting thing that happens with the leprosy, it's when you got this disease all over your body, you are cured. You are cured and you are pure and you are... How can this be? If somebody's got a skin disease, he's got here and there, so he's ill. Okay, he's got this disease. But if it covers his whole body, so he is really seriously ill. He's got it all over the body. So definitely he's not cured. On the contrary, he's got it all over. So what's the Torah telling to us? That this special disease, leprosy, if you've got it all over your body, you are purified. The idea is very simple. As we said, the main reason is lashon hara. Now, when somebody's got a leprosy, is going to sit outside the camp, and then after a week is being checked again and again. We're not going to go through all the procedure, and only when the leprosy goes away, he can come back to the camp. Otherwise, he's got to sit outside alone by himself. Why? We all know we've got it all over for more than 2 years. We've got quarantines. People are getting the corona and they have to sit in their homes alone. And maybe this is also because of lashon hara that we have got this thing. Because people do lashon hara, they separate people, so they have to sit by themselves and realize what they did wrong, because they are now by themselves and understand how important it is to be a part of the society, part of the family, a part of the community. And this is exactly the point. But if we're talking about lashon hara, chilut, shaming, and it's all over. So if I put this guy outside the camp, he's not going to be alone there. The whole camp is going to be full with people that talk badly on people, because we says it covers the whole thing. So there is no reason to put him outside. So he is cured. Okay. Let's put it in a different way. Maybe let's talk about as an individual. As an individual that wants to keep the Torah, and a lot of times we don't realize that we have a problem. We think about self the best, and we don't see what we've got wrong with us. Normally we see what other people got wrong. We don't see our own defaults. We see others. And sometimes we need somebody else to tell us what is wrong with us. We don't think that anything is wrong. And this is the leprosy. The leprosy, one of the signs is the hair. The hair becomes from black, changes to white. The hair starts from inside the body and goes outside the body. So it's really showing off what's happening inside your body. In other words, if you are rotten from inside, but outside you look good, you don't even know that there's something wrong with you. But if this rot goes outside, if people see that you've got something wrong from the outside, they can tell you that something is wrong with you. But this is only when they can see this, the other people can see it. But you yourself, you cannot see those things. So that's the reason that the hair that comes from our inside grows outside, becomes white, and then people say, oh, you've got leprosy, you've got something wrong with you. Now, this is when you have here and there. But if your whole body is covered with leprosy, you understand and realize that you are wrong, that something is wrong with you. Now, if you know that something is wrong, so that's exactly the first step to cure yourself. What you have to do now is do tshuva. When you do tshuva, you cure yourself. But you have to realize that you've got something wrong. So if you've got here and there, sometimes you don't realize. You need other people to tell you what's wrong with you. But when it's covering your whole body, you definitely know something is very, very wrong. And then you realize that that's, for example, talking badly on people. So you do tshuva. So in other words, the whole thing is not to punish you, it's to educate you. And if you realize your problem, now it's in your hand to act and to do the right things in the eyes of God. If you don't do the right thing, also, there is nothing is going to help. If you put you outside the camp by yourself, it still doesn't help, because if you don't do tshuva by yourself, realizing that you are covered with leprosy, you are covered with rechilut, you are covered with shaming, you are covered with this lashon hara, if you don't realize that by yourself, if your whole body is covered with this disease, so something is definitely wrong with you, and there's nothing going to fix it, because all those punishment, which are not punishment, those are all for us to see and understand that we have a problem and fix it. But if we don't care about it, God's not going to deal with us. Anyway, you are cured. Go. I don't know. Like the snake. The snake's punishment was that he can enjoy and eat everything. He can, wherever he goes, he can eat. He doesn't need anything special. So God told him, I don't want to know about you. I'm not going to deal with you. You sinned. And this is exactly the point. If God is giving us leprosy, he wants us to fix it. And if it's covering the whole body, it means that you definitely have to know that something is wrong with you and fix it. And if you don't fix it, again, there is no reason to do anything. Anyway, you're going to be cured from this skin disease because it's not working for you. Or if it's working for you, we did what we need to do. So this is why the Torah tells you, if you've got leprosy here and there, so you need other people to tell you, hey, look what you've got here, you have a problem. And then you look and say, oh, yes, I have a problem. And then you sit by yourself and you start thinking, what is the problem? And you realize, I talked lashon hara or whatever it is. But if you're all covered with this disease, you understand, nobody has to tell you anything. You see for your own eyes that something is definitely wrong with you, and you do tshuva, and that's it. The same thing is when we say ishaki tazria. Ishaki tazria is like where a woman puts, like, I don't know how to say it in English, but it's like a seed that you plant it in earth, and you know what's happening to this seed. This seed, first of all, is rotten, and then from this seed grows a beautiful tree with fruits. But you put it inside the earth, you don't see what's happening with it. It takes time till it grows out. This is exactly the point with the leprosy. It's to tell us that what you've got inside is going to show off outside. So definitely fill yourself from the inside with good things, so you will have good things growing out of you. But if you have yourself rotten from inside, you do bad things, don't think for a minute that it's not going to show off. That's the leprosy. It's going to show off. People are going to see it eventually. Sof ganav letliyah, they say. The end of a thief is hanging. And people don't realize it, but the day comes. You can cheat, you can lie, you can do a lot of things, but you cannot do it all the time. One day it will come and people realize what's wrong, and they will realize and they point in you and says, this guy's got leprosy, this guy is ill, this guy is a sinner, and whatever it is. So in other words, leprosy today, of course there is. And this is like a sign. If something hurts you, if something is wrong with you, and you look and you understand, what can I do? How can I fix it? And you look, for example, not everything we can understand. But for example, if somebody's got problem with his legs or with his eyes, he has to think, what did I do with my eyes? Where did I look? What did I do with my legs? Where did I go? And try and fix it. Sometimes it can be, as the Torah says, you look inside you and you look and do, what did I do? And you cannot find it. So you have to go and learn Torah. Maybe you don't learn a lot. Maybe you're all so busy with yourself or with everything, with all the physical world, and you don't deal with the spiritual world. So you have to deal more with the spiritual world. You have to put more into the Torah. Learn more Torah. In this way, you will find the right way to go and to connect yourself to God and to Am Israel. The problem is that sometimes we think that we do so many good things, which is good, and we're so, how do you say, full with ourselves. Like this story with this rabbi that once was this doctor. He was a really good doctor, and he was ish chesed. He did a lot of good things to people. And one day he meets this great rabbi, and they sit together, and he is bragging and telling this rabbi how good he is. He says, you know, when people come to me and they haven't got money for the treatment, I treat them for free. The rabbi says, yes, I do the same. This doctor is thinking, what does he mean? What is he, doctor? He's not a doctor. So, maybe he thinks that when people come to consult with him, so he does it for free. He's a rabbi, so they ask him question about things like this. So he do it for free. Okay. Then he tells the rabbi, you know, also sometimes when they come from far away and haven't got any place to sleep, I put them in a hotel and I pay for it. The rabbi says, I do the same. This guy thinks, what does he mean he does the same? Well, he's putting people in a hotel. Oh, maybe he thinks if people come from far away, he deals with them and he puts them, he finds a place for them to sleep for the night. Okay. So then he tells, I have to tell him something else. So tell him, Rabbi, sometimes when the people, they haven't got money for the medicine, I give them medicine for free. He says, I do the same. Now this guy couldn't understand. Okay. He says, dear Rabbi, I want to understand. I told you that I give free treatment, you says you do the same. I told you that I put them in a hotel, you said you do the same. I told you that I give medicine for free, you said you do the same. What, are you a doctor? You're a rabbi. He says, yes, I do the same. I also talk about the good things I do, and I don't talk about anything else. But that's not the life. Life, okay, it's very good what you did good, but you have to go on doing more things. That's why you're here. That's exactly the point. You have to understand and realize that here, when we put things on the surface, when we see what we are doing and we see the results, and even if it's the best thing in the world, we have to go on doing it because we have the potential, and God wants us to fulfill our potential. So sometimes it can be that God will remind us that we are on our way, but we have to do much more. It's like this taxi driver and this rabbi, they come to heaven, and the angel says, okay, the rabbi is sure he's going to heaven. The taxi driver, who knows what he's going to get, taxi driver. And what's happening is, he cannot believe it. The angel says to the taxi driver, you go to heaven. And then he approaches the rabbi, you go to hell. To hell? What do you mean? I'm a rabbi, I've got a yeshiva, I'm learning Torah. And this guy, he's a taxi driver. He goes to heaven, I go to hell. He says, you don't understand. It's not that he is a taxi driver and you're a rabbi. It's what is your potential. This taxi driver, his potential was used to the full and even more. This guy, all the day he was working, driving this taxi in order to make money so he can support his family, that his kids will go to good schools, they get a good education, and they will be good scholars. They will do the way of God, and his house was all around Torah and good things. And in the evening when he came back from this hard day, he used to go to a shiur and daf hayomi, and even though he slept half of the shiur because he was very tired, he did whatever he could for the Torah. So the whole day is considered Torah, because driving the taxi was not for himself. It was for God. It was for the Torah, for education for his children, for keeping a good kosher home. But you are a rabbi. You had the potential to do much more than what you did. And whatever you did it for yourself, to be called a rabbi, a great scholar. Oh, you wrote this book, and I did this, and I did that. You were bragging with what you did. So you didn't do it for God, you did it for yourself. So go to hell. In other words, it's not what it looks from the outside, it's what you've got inside. And even if it's from the inside, and do understand that at the end of the day, what you've got inside is going to come outside. And if it's bad things, that's the leprosy. If it's good things, it's a beautiful tree with fruits. So we see the connection between the inside and the outside, and that's the story of the leprosy. The leprosy is all about connecting the inside with the outside in the right way. And if you don't do it the right way, so the leprosy comes. If it was in the old times the skin disease, today it's other things, but it's still there. All the best, and I hope that we manage to do this shiur properly.